disrupt, adapt, repeat. You're listening to Pure Reinvention, the podcast for curious people.
Welcome to this episode of Pure Reinvention. This is episode 122. This is the beginning of May, and I'm here with my co-host, Drew Mitchell. Drew is the Chief Executive Officer of the Clinton County Economic Development. Drew, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for having me. It's my pleasure.
Well, it's exciting to have you here for what we're going to talk about in the month of May, because the month of May, Drew, is all about ownership. Personal ownership and professional ownership, a very exciting topic. And the reason that I really wanted you to be a co-host during this topic, Drew, is because you have really been a shining example of how an individual owns a changing journey for an organization, for what you've done with Clinton County Economic Development.
Well, thank you very much. It is not a very old organization. We're just starting our 10th year now, and I'm the third president. And each of my predecessors had a very different personality and very different take on what direction the organization should be going in. Not always successful. And I've worked very hard to become part of our communities in Clinton County, to help them with development efforts, and really to be a strong resource for residents, business owners, and the education community.
So the Clinton County Economic Alliance has been an organization that has really done some interesting work in the last year under your leadership, as you have owned their journey, as you have developed not only a strategic plan.
Correct.
But your strategic plan has what we have been able to identify as a three-dimensional kind of view, which if anybody who's listening to this wants to understand a little bit more about a three-dimensional strategic plan, Drew can help you with that. But the other very important part, Drew, is your strategic plan was reduced to one page.
Yes, it was. And depending upon information that a desired body wants to see, it can be one page, one side. That we really worked hard to identify. We do traditional economic development activities of business attraction, retention, but we also have found that within those activities, there are 5 market segments that we concentrate on. And so it's very easy for me to, when I have a phone call or a conversation with somebody, am able to identify yes or no, this fits our mission and plan, or it does not.
And the reason that I bring that up is I wanted to show by example how Drew's work with the Clinton County Economic Alliance has created this document. We call it strategic planning, but really what that document does is it allows Drew to own the decision making that goes with that organization. And Drew, the ability to understand and own the responsibility to grow a business has as part of it, step one, the fact that you know what direction you need to be going in.
Correct. And extremely supportive board of directors that are behind their strategic plan and all of my activities. And so I'm not constantly having to go back and say, is this something I should do, not do? I have a very clear vision of what I should be doing for our communities.
I think sometimes when there is difficulty with this concept called ownership, we throw so many things in front of people for them to digest that it's really hard to know how to prioritize. And so this document, Drew, that you have aligns with your capacity as an executive to move things forward, to own and move things forward. But as we both realize, you have to know what you're moving forward first in order to own it.
That's very true. I don't always, especially with, I think, some municipalities, there's a misunderstanding perhaps of what I can do for them or how I might be able to work with them. And so this is a very clear way for me to show them this is what my game plan is. And this is based on the board of directors. And it's how we move forward.
So when we look at any significant project which has movement to it, it's very easy to see or find those individuals, those owners who have the capacity and who are behaviorally doing the things to help the business move forward. When we don't have movement, and this is even maybe a more critical awareness, when we don't have movement, we don't see any individual who is of an executive level, who has decision-making capabilities, who is willing to own and risk, right, the behavior necessary to move a project forward. So as we evaluate the ability for an organization to move forward, ownership becomes a critical factor, because if there are no owners within the business to move the business forward, we don't see any movement. Yet if we see movement, we generally can find who it was that was behind that movement. And it's generally a very small number. Drew, I give you a lot of credit because you were willing, in fact, you asked for the direction and the exercise that helped you focus on how to create movement, because you are an owner by your own DNA, right? Mm-hmm. How did that happen? Why do you own the work that you do?
Well, I have a passion for it. There are wonderful people in Clinton County. Municipal staff are dedicated to what they do. Elected officials, I'm amazed every day at the hours they commit for our betterment, whether it's our dairy farmers, our manufacturers, our educators. We have wonderful school systems up there. So my small contribution to help move things forward and actually enhance the economic vitality of the communities, it's fun. And I hesitate a little bit to say that, but I enjoy what I do just about every day.
So let's, Drew, talk about how important this word is, passion. Mm-hmm. If you're going to really own your work and really move it forward, how critical is this thing called passion?
It's invaluable. I mean, I don't know how you can own something without having a passion for it. I mean, there's no meat. I mean, you don't have anything inside you that's keeping you dedicated
the fuel,
to that.
It?
Yeah, absolutely it is.
Yeah, so you can have the work, the kinds of work that you do, but your real passion, as I listen to you talk about this, is looking for ways to move Clinton County forward.
Right.
And that's a passion. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're looking at all of the variables, all of the opportunities. Mm-hmm. We're able to distill it down into some significant market segments. And then with a passion, treat it like it was your own company, your own family, your own life, and make it happen.
That's exactly right. It is just an enjoyable opportunity. I've done a number of different things in my adult life, career-wise, and I wish I'd have found this 20 years ago.
How does a person, Drew, kind of also use that same approach in their personal life to talk about the passion for something and the passion to move something forward?
I think you have to be open to learning. You have to listen. I find that I talk much less than I used to when I was a banker, that I listen to hear what's new, what's different. How does somebody feel about something? How always with a business owner, it's interesting to hear how they got started. And so on a personal basis, I think you have to have high expectations for yourself, as you know, in your personal life, and to be interested in a lot of different things. And I am. Maybe a little ADHD, I don't know, but
that's the energy.
And I like to be able to help people.
The second step in the peer reinvention process, which is ownership, is so important because it's one of the key ingredients that helps anything move forward, either personally or professionally. Passion is a very funny thing because when it's evident, when it's there, it's very evident. When it's missing, it's noticeable. Mm-hmm. And I think we've all seen examples where passion is missing and we see a lack of movement forward. Yet it doesn't take very many people to embrace and own that passion for the project to be able to own it and move it forward. And I think that's why, first of all, why it was selected as one of the fundamental steps. But secondly, without that, we can't move reinvention forward. Someone has to have that passion.
There needs to be a champion in the room. For whatever it is you're working it on, whether, it's your own life and you need to get up and go to the grocery store, or are you working to help a community improve outdoor artwork?
That's absolutely right. And that champion can be you. It doesn't matter what your position in the company is. It doesn't matter what your role in the family is. Mm-hmm. That champion can be you.
Have you enjoyed our Pure Reinvention podcast? Are you ready to begin your own Pure Reinvention journey? Join our next Starters Experience May 4 through 5 and May 24 through 25 in Detroit. Learn the 5 fundamentals in an engaging and interactive way. Contact us at PureReinvention.com today.
So, Drew, let's talk about what's about to happen this first week of May, what we call the first week of starters.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to it, and I think it's kind of my innate curiosity and the enjoyment I have meeting new people and learning what they do and how they do it, and can I do what I do better?
And here's the very important part of the beginning of starters. The people who will be in that class, they're ready to own what's next. And I think that's the beauty of ownership, is it allows an individual to actually select and start to move things forward because they have chosen to own their destiny. And the people that will be in starters, which will be at the end of this week, have chosen to and owned that decision to be there because they've taken time out of their schedule. They've invested their time, they're investing their money, and they're ready to own the fact that they're ready to go on that journey. They're ready to own the educational experience that'll be delivered very differently than traditional. They're ready to own the experiences that will happen and the impact it will have on them. And obviously, they'll be able to own the results of that experience as well. So, Drew, when you get done at the end of the starters experience, what do you expect to own?
I have some concerns about sustainability with change and, kind of the Jack Welch model where when he was at GE, they did some amazing things. But then as soon as he left, not so much. And I feel like I don't want, if and when I retire, I don't want to leave the communities in a lurch, and that maybe we've developed some techniques, some processes, some projects that will go on after I'm gone, and they can do it without me. That would be the greatest thing ever.
That's such a phenomenal thought. It's kind of step one of ownership is when we own something and our energy is what's caused the movement, which also means the whatever it is lives or dies off of us. But the next stage of ownership, and the true owner teaches and creates wide enough ownership to now deal with the sustainability, Drew, that you were talking about, where no matter whether we're really in or out of the project, we might have started it. Mm-hmm. We might have been the early fuel. We might have been an early owner. But at some point, we realized that if we can widen that ownership, get other people involved, get other people to own and have that passion, no matter what happens to us, if we have other career opportunities that we can go on to, whatever happens to us, that particular project goes ahead because true owners spread that ownership to others so it becomes a group project, not an individual project. Mm-hmm. And I think you're absolutely right that we have to those of us who own things have to be ready to teach others to have the same kind of passion and ownership as well. I think it's a phenomenal gift when we can learn how to do that. So if you're ready for a change, make it a change that lasts. Make it pure reinvention.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Pure Reinvention. Keep the conversation going and get alerts when new podcasts are up by following us on Twitter at Pure Reinvention or sign up for our mailing list at PureReinvention.com.